Smart American growers in their 50s and 60s this fall are watching 16 plants their own grandparents grew disappear from every garden center shelf in the country. Not because they stopped working, but because nobody ever showed the next generation what to look for. These 16 ancestral cottage garden plants once filled nearly every American backyard, and finding even one at a nursery today is nearly impossible. Before plant number 1, drop your state right now, because your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 15 kept it quietly off every mainstream shelf for 3 generations. Do not skip this. Plant number 1, Meadowsweet. Grandparents once paid barely $11 for a plant that scented an entire American yard for generations, and today's garden centers do not carry it at all. Frothy white blooms gather in wide clusters along tall arching stems near the fence line, releasing a fragrance that drifts across the whole garden like almonds folded gently into warm honey. Zones 3 through 8, full sun to part shade, moist soya. Colonial households scattered the dried meadowsweet across floors as a fragrant strewing herb before modern flooring existed. Documented use spans Elizabethan households, where meadowsweet was prized above other strewing herbs for its scent. A $13 meadowsweet plant replaces years of purchased fragrance products, once established in the right soil. Most American growers still plant it in dry beds, when meadowsweet actually needs consistently moist, even boggy ground. Plant it in dry ground, and it quickly dies within a single season. An $11 loss repeated year after year. That almond, honey fragrance once meant a household understood exactly what it was growing. And next comes a plant so architectural, your neighbors will ask what it is before they ask what it does. Number 2, towers over 6 feet tall, and almost nobody remembers why grandparents grew it that big on purpose. And somewhere in this video is the story of a grower in Pennsylvania in his 60s who remembers his grandmother's kitchen garden by scent alone. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, Angelica. A $14 plant grows taller than most American fences, and almost nobody plants it that way on purpose anymore. Thick hollow stems rise past 6 feet, crowned with wide umbrella-shaped blooms that once anchored the tallest corner of every serious cottage garden in the country. Documented use shows Angelica stems candied whole and preserved as a traditional confection long before modern sugar work existed. University extension records listed among the tallest biennial herbs grown in historic American kitchen gardens. A $14 Angelica plant once replaced imported candied fruit that cost families far more each season. Most American growers expect quick results, but Angelica is biennial and takes patience before it truly performs. Pull it early, expecting fast growth, and you lose the entire $14 investment before it ever blooms. Patience with Angelica pays off in a towering plant that dominates an entire garden bed for years once mature. Have you ever grown something that tested your patience for a full season before it finally rewarded you? Not in a pot, not in a greenhouse, but directly in your garden. Drop it below. Plant 3 carries a root with a very different reputation than its blooms. Plant number 3, Valerian. An $11 root carries a smell most people avoid entirely, yet the blooms rising above it pull butterflies into the garden all season long without fail. Clusters of fragrant white-pink flowers open atop tall swaying stems, drawing pollinators in, even though the root beneath tells a completely different story underground. Zones 4 through 8, full sun to part shade, moist, well-drained soya. Documented traditional use lists. Valerian root, among the most trusted calming herbs, passed down across centuries of household practice. University extension herbal records confirm its long-standing place in historic American and European home remedies. An $11 valerian plant once replaced calming products that modern households now pay far more for each year. Most American growers harvest the root too early, before the plant has matured into its full documented potency. Harvest young valerian, and you lose most of its traditional value, wasting an entire season of growth for nothing. That root history explains exactly why patience matters more with valerian than most American growers ever realized before harvesting. And now comes the one plant nearly every historic cottage garden kept near the compost pile for a very specific reason. Miss this one, and you miss the soil-building ancestral plant your own garden has quietly been missing for years. Plant number 4, comfrey. An $11 plant was once planted deliberately beside the compost pile, and almost no modern American gardener remembers exactly why that placement mattered. Broad, hairy leaves and drooping purple-pink blooms sit atop a taproot that plunges far below the surface, pulling nutrients no shallow-rooted plant could ever reach on its own. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun to part shade. Rich, adaptable soils. Documented traditional use lists. Comfrey leaves as a household poultice herb applied externally for many generations. University extension records confirm its historic role as one of the most vigorous soil, enriching cottage garden plants ever grown. An $11 comfrey plant once fed compost piles nutrients that fertilizer companies now charge families for every single year. Most American growers plant it beside delicate perennials, not realizing how aggressively comfrey actually spreads once established. Crowd it near fragile plants, and comfrey overtakes the entire bed within one growing season. Given its own dedicated space, comfrey rewards an American garden for decades without ever once asking for anything else in return. Did you believe comfrey was simply a wild weed rather than a deliberate soil building tool your own grandparents planted on purpose long ago? Be completely honest in the comments below. Plant number 5, lovage. An $11 plant once fed an entire household's cooking for years before most Americans ever saw celery in a grocery store. Tall, hollow stalks and glossy dark green leaves rise from a single crown, delivering a flavor so close to celery that early cooks used it as a direct substitute. Zones 3 through 8. Documented traditional use lists lovage as a household kitchen staple long before celery reached most grocery stores. University extension records confirm one mature plant historically supplied a household's cooking for years. An $11 lovage plant once replaced grocery celery purchases that now add up significantly each season. Most American growers plant it in small containers, not realizing lovage needs deep in-ground soil to thrive. Container grown lovage stays stunted for years, wasting the entire investment on a plant that never reaches potential. Planted in the ground with proper room to grow, lovage feeds an entire American household's kitchen for years without a single grocery trip. Next comes a plant referenced across historic religious and herbal texts for centuries, and almost no modern grower realizes exactly how deep that history actually runs. Plant number 6, hyssop. An $11 plant appears across historic religious and herbal texts for centuries, and almost nobody growing it today realizes why. Narrow, aromatic leaves and spikes of purple-blue blooms rise from woody stems, releasing a sharp fragrance that once carried real significance in household and ceremonial use alike. Zones 4 through 9. Full sun, well-drained soil. Documented traditional use references hyssop across centuries of historic religious and herbal texts alike. University extension records confirm its long-standing place in traditional tea preparations across American households. An $11 hyssop plant once replaced calming tea purchases that add up considerably every single year. Most American growers plant it in wet soil, not realizing hyssop needs excellent drainage to avoid root rot. Wet roots kill an established hyssop plant within a single season, wasting years of growth for nothing. That historic text reference explains exactly why hyssop earned a permanent place in ceremonial gardens across centuries of documented American and European use. And now comes the plant pioneers turned into actual soap, and it still grows today, exactly as it did generations ago, in nearly every dry backyard, willing to give it room. Plant number 7, soapweed yucca. A $14 plant survived where almost nothing else could, and pioneers turned its roots into an actual working soap substitute. Spiky blue-green rosettes send up a tall spike of creamy white blooms each summer, thriving in conditions that would kill most other ancestral plants outright. Documented traditional use shows pioneers processing soapweed yucca roots into a working soap substitute for household cleaning. University extension records confirm the plant's long-standing role in historic American homestead practice. A $14 yucca plant offers extreme drought tolerance and decades of life once properly established. Most American growers plant it in wet clay soil, not realizing yucca needs genuinely sharp drainage to survive. Wet clay rots the root system within a single season, killing a plant meant to outlive its owner. That pioneer soap history explains exactly why yucca outlived generations of American homesteads with almost no real care required from anyone. And we have not even reached number 8 yet, because next comes a story about someone chasing a childhood memory through the very plants you just learned. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a grower in Pennsylvania in his 60s who remembers his grandmother's kitchen garden by scent alone. This is that story. He spent years walking nursery aisles, trying to find that exact fragrance, and university extension records on historic cottage garden species finally helped him identify meadowsweet, valerian, and comfrey as 3 of the plants she grew in Zone 6 decades ago. He replanted 8 of these documented species in his own Zone 6 backyard, recreating a fragrance he had not smelled in over 40 years the moment those first blooms finally opened. What comes next is for the grower still here right now, the one who actually wants to know, not just the one who wanted the number, because plant number 8 was so trusted historically that an entire saying was written about it. Plant number 8, betony. An $11 plant was once so trusted that an entire old saying was written claiming no cottage garden was truly complete without it. Low rosettes of green foliage send up spikes of purple-pink blooms each summer, standing exactly where American cottage gardeners insisted it belonged for generations. Zones 4 through 8 documented traditional use references an old European saying claiming a household garden was incomplete without betony planted somewhere within it. University extension records confirm its long-standing reputation among the most trusted historic cottage garden herbs. An $11 betony plant rewards American growers with decades of low-maintenance color, once properly established. Most American growers plant it in deep shade, not realizing betony needs at least partial sun for its best growth. Deep shade produces a betony plant that never blooms, wasting its entire ornamental and historic value. That old saying explains exactly why betony held its place in nearly every serious American cottage garden for generations without fail. What plant, spot, or shaded corner in your own yard has defeated every single thing you have ever tried to grow there? Drop it below before plant number 9. Plant number 9, sweet woodruff. A $9 plant carries almost no fragrance at all until it is cut and dried, and almost nobody realizes why that specific timing matters. Whorled green leaves and tiny star-shaped white blooms spread low across shaded soil, forming a fragrant carpet that once scented entire American linen closets. Zones 4 through 8, shade, moist, rich soil, documented traditional use lists, dried sweet woodruff as a household linen, scenting herb once it releases its fresh-cut hay fragrance. University extension records confirm the plant's long-standing role as a fragrant shade ground cover in historic gardens. A $9 sweet woodruff plant once replaced fabric fragrance products that add up considerably every single year. Most American growers plant it in full sun, not realizing sweet woodruff needs consistent shade to thrive. Full sun scorches the foliage within weeks, killing a plant meant to spread for decades. Once properly dried, sweet woodruff quietly scents an entire American room for months without any manufactured fragrance product involved in that process at all. Next comes a plant with leaves that hold perfect droplets of dew in their very center. A genuine garden curiosity. Almost nobody grows anymore. Plant number 10, Lady's Mantle. An $11 plant holds a perfect bead of dew or rain in its center every single morning, and almost nobody knows why that happens. Scalloped green leaves catch water in a way few other plants can, crowned by sprays of tiny chartreuse blooms that once marked every serious cottage garden border. Zones 3 through 8, partial sun, moist, well-drained soil. Documented traditional use associates Lady's Mantle with generations of women's herbal practice across historic American and European households. University extension records confirm its long-standing place as a beloved cottage garden border plant. An $11 Lady's Mantle plant rewards growers with decades of reliable foliage display once properly established. Most American growers plant it in deep shade, not realizing Lady's Mantle needs partial sun for its best leaf display. Deep shade produces sparse, weak foliage, wasting the plant's full ornamental and historic value entirely. That dewdrop curiosity explains exactly why Lady's Mantle earned its place as a genuine garden conversation piece across generations of American cottage gardens. This one was the original household insect deterrent, centuries before any modern product ever existed. Miss it and you miss the plant that started it all. Plant number 11, Common Tansy. A $9 plant kept entire American households free of pests generations before any modern product existed. Clusters of button-like yellow blooms rise above fern-like green foliage, dried and hung in doorways as a natural deterrent long before chemical sprays took over that job. Documented traditional use lists. Dried tansy blooms hung near doorways as a household insect deterrent for generations before modern products existed. University extension records confirm the plant's extreme hardiness across a wide range of American growing zones. A $9 tansy plant once replaced pest control purchases that add up considerably every single season. Most American growers underestimate how aggressively tansy spreads once left unmanaged in a garden bed. Left unchecked, tansy naturalizes across an entire bed within 2 seasons, overtaking neighboring plants completely. Managed properly, tansy protects an entire American household from pests without a single manufactured spray ever involved in the process at all. And now comes the plant an entire category of historic spirits was named after. Miss it, and you miss the most culturally significant plant on this whole list. Plant number 12, Wormwood. An $11 plant lent its name to an entire category of historic spirits, and almost nobody growing it today realizes the connection. Silvery gray, feathery foliage catches light unlike any other plant on this list, thriving in the same lean, dry conditions that once made it a staple of historic distilling gardens. Documented traditional use confirms wormwood as the historic namesake ingredient behind an entire category of distilled spirits. University extension records listed among the most drought-tolerant silver foliage plants in cottage garden history. An $11 wormwood plant thrives for decades once established in genuinely lean, dry soil. Most American growers plant it in rich, moist soil, not realizing wormwood actually prefers lean, dry conditions. Instead, rich soil produces weak, floppy growth, wasting the plant's natural drought-hardy character entirely. That spirit's namesake history explains exactly why wormwood earned a permanent place in distilling gardens across many generations of documented historic use. Next comes a plant whose blue-green foliage was historically painted by Old World artists for its distinctive, completely unmatched color in the garden. Plant number 13, rue. An $11 plant carries a blue-green color, so distinctive that Old World artists once painted it specifically for that unmatched shade. Lobed foliage and small yellow blooms rise from woody stems, low maintenance and long-lived once it finds a permanent home in the garden. Documented traditional use confirms rue's blue-green foliage as a favored subject among Old World botanical painters for centuries. University Extension safety records note that handling rue in direct sunlight can cause skin sensitivity in some individuals. An $11 rue plant rewards growers with decades of low-maintenance color once properly established. Most American growers handle it bare-handed in bright sun, unaware of this documented sensitivity risk. Skin contact in direct sun can cause irritation for some people, so gloves are the simple, sensible precaution. That artistic history explains exactly why rue held a permanent place in Old World painted botanical records across many generations of use. Next comes the plant that defined what an entire historic apothecary garden even looked like. Traditionally grown right beside rue in serious herbal collections. Plant number 14, white horehound. A $9 plant, defined what an entire historic apothecary garden even looked like, grown right beside rue in serious herbal collections. Silvery white woolly leaves and small white blooms in whorls rise from square stems, thriving in the same lean conditions that made it an apothecary staple for generations. Zones 4 through 9. Full sun, lean, well-drained soya. Documented traditional use lists white horehound as a key ingredient in historic household lozenge, making before modern remedies existed. University Extension records confirm its long-standing place among defining apothecary garden plants in American history. A $9 horehound plant once replaced lozenge purchases that add up considerably across an entire season. Most American growers planted in rich, fertile soil, not realizing horehound actually prefers lean, well-drained conditions. Rich soil produces weak, floppy growth, wasting the plant's natural apothecary garden character entirely. That lozenge-making history explains exactly why white horehound earned its permanent place in historic apothecary gardens across many generations of documented use. Next comes a plant once called Bible leaf, because its dried leaves were historically tucked into family Bibles as fragrant, functional bookmarks. Plant number 15, costmary. This is the one growers in their 50s and 60s have been waiting for since the start of this video, called Bible leaf, because dried leaves were once tucked between pages as fragrant bookmarks. Long, silvery green leaves carry a sweet, minty fragrance that once made every family Bible smell exactly like a summer cottage garden. Zones 4 through 8. Full sun, well-drained soil. Documented traditional use confirms costmary earned the name Bible leaf because dried leaves were commonly tucked into family Bibles as fragrant bookmarks. University Extension records listed among the most fragrant historic cottage garden tea herbs grown in America. An $11 costmary plant once replaced tea purchases that add up considerably across an entire year. Most American growers planted in wet soil, not realizing costmary needs good drainage to avoid root rot entirely. Wet roots kill an established costmary plant within a single season, wasting years of fragrant growth. That Bible leaf tradition explains exactly why costmary earned a permanent place in nearly every American family home across many quiet, unremembered generations of use. And now the final plant on this list, one whose crushed leaves once produced a natural sudsing agent used carefully for delicate fabric care. Plant number 16, soapwort, a $9 plant crushed into a natural sudsing agent that once handled every household's delicate fabric care before modern detergent existed. Clusters of fragrant pink-white blooms spread low across garden beds, forming a flowering ground cover that closes out this list exactly where cottage gardens always kept it. Zones 3 through 8. Full sun to part shade. Moist soya. Documented traditional use confirms soapwort's crushed leaves and roots produced a natural sudsing agent for delicate fabric care for generations. University extension records listed among the most reliable historic household cleaning plants grown in America. A $9 soapwort plant once replaced delicate fabric cleaning products that add up considerably each year. Most American growers underestimate how far soapwort's rhizomes travel once left unmanaged near other beds. Left uncontained, soapwort spreads into neighboring beds within 2 seasons, requiring real effort to remove. Contained properly, soapwort closes this entire list exactly where it started, in a household garden that once needed nothing, store-bought at all to function. 3 things about these 16 plants that almost no source puts in one place are coming up right now, starting with a fragrance combination almost nobody knows. 3 things about these 16 plants that almost no source puts in one place. Meadowsweet, sweet woodruff, costmary, and lady's mantle together recreate the exact fragrance profile of a classic old cottage garden. When garden centers no longer stock these, specialty herb nurseries and university extension plant sales remain the most reliable documented source for authentic stock. Root division lets nearly every one of these perennial herbs multiply permanently, meaning one established plant becomes several within a single season to share with family or expand your own American garden bed at no additional cost. Together, these 16 documented ancestral plants represent multi-use household value that compounds every single year once properly established in the correct zone. Here is exactly where to begin, based on your specific zone right now. Here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. In zones 3 through 6, start with meadowsweet, valerian, comfrey, betony, sweet woodruff, and lady's mantle. 6 documented cold-hardy ancestral plants that together replace roughly $70 in yearly specialty herb and household product purchases once they become fully established in your own American backyard garden this coming fall. In zones 6 through 9, start with angelica, soapweed, yucca, rue, and costmary. 4 documented warm zone ancestral plants best planted right now, before fall dormancy fully sets in across your entire region for this current growing season ahead of winter. Miss this narrow window, and your first real result waits a full year, so plant before this current season closes for good. Just discovered 16 documented ancestral plants your own grandparents likely grew. Zone-accurate and dollar-grounded knowledge most gardening channels never put in one place. If this brought back even a piece of that history, hit like right now so other growers can find it too. Comment which plant your own grandparents grew that you still cannot identify today. Then drop your exact state and zone below so fellow growers everywhere can compare notes. Subscribe to Natural Verge. The plants your great-grandmother knew are still out there, and we find them every single week.